It has been a happy week this week in the land of the Gooners. Arsenal win 5-0 against Leeds. Eberechi Eze announced officially as an Arsenal player, and we might not be done. So much to talk about today on this show. Make sure you are liking, make sure you are subscribing to Fire Them Cannons podcast. This is episode 2 of Fire Them Cannons. I'm here with my main man, Cal. How you been this week, my brother?
Dude, pretty good, pretty good. New beginnings, just finishing up a move here. And new beginnings for Arsenal as well, because we signed our boy, made it official, the big Easy E Eze.
E to the Z to the E. Yeah, look, the the vibes pre-match were just absolutely head loss. Like for those who don't know, like we both live in Australia, and like so I took a bit of a power nap to watch the game. The game started at 2:30 our time. So the announcement of Eze was about 2 a.m. our time. And so I just woken up, and before I even looked at the lineups or anything like that, before I even got changed, I looked to see like did Arsenal sign Eze? And there was that beautiful 30-second clip of Ian Wright on this throne, and Eze and let it all work out. And I'm just like, fuck, this is real. I'm like, he's wearing the number 10 shirt. And yeah, and then before you know it, I just turn on my TV, and you see him, and he's just like, he's waving and clapping, and he looks so freaking happy. And the entire stadium is just jumping. Like, what a vibe. What of like, and just, everything has changed at Arsenal. I think we're thoroughly ready to begin this season. Cal, from your point of view, how did you see that? Like,
Yeah, it's pretty good to just see it happen, see it for real, like it's finally done and dusted. Because Tottenham proves that a here we go doesn't mean it's a here we go. So it's pretty nice to to know that he's in the shit and he just looks like an Arsenal player. He looked like he's been here. He just belongs here. So I think that was like the perfect way to kind of start the game. And then we finished off the game that 5-0. It's exactly what we need going into the season. So the vibes are just kind of sky high, and we mightn't be done. So
yeah. So what do you reckon about the intro video? Just quickly before we get into our main topics, like lots of very jealous people calling us cringe. Like, what's your take on the whole
I
thing?
think the media team is pretty, like, they should get a lot of credit, because I think Arsenal, we do the best intros and the best kind of PR around our players, and I think Eze has been the best one. Even like the Zubamendi one was really cool with the the drums and everything like that. The Eucharist was like more fierce and stuff. I think yeah, I think it's great, and I eat it up. I watch all of them.
Yeah, what kind of felt. This is kind of what I felt. By the way, the media team has been like, it's almost as like they've known the whole time exactly who's Arsenal signing, because each signing they have like a role or a label or something that it feels like was part of the plan. Like when Zubamendi goes like setting the pace, and what was with Kepa was like raising the levels, and like they just had like something for every single player. Um, and yeah, I just feel like they do an amazing job. And people who are calling us cringe for having a celebration for a, a striker who's bagging goals now finally in the Prem, for being able to make a video that is awesome using a club legend. Those That's because those people are jealous, and they do not, you know. And those are Tottenham fans who were picturing having Eze in their shirt, and he's now with us. So, Cal, you there?
Yep, I'm here. Just give me my camera's just gone.
All right, I'll just keep chatting while chatting away. Um, yeah. So, man, the whole as a
Ah,
situation, we
back.
spoke a lot. Here you go. We spoke a lot about it last week. So it's nice to see it all come into realization. But there was a football match on the pitch as well, which we're going to get to talk about later. And Yeah, so it's good. It's good that we finally seems like we're getting our signings. So
Yeah, yeah. And I think yeah, the Eze deal definitely makes us feel a lot better about kind of everything. I think he was something that I felt like I think and a lot of people felt that he was the kind of missing piece. Even though we were happy with Gyökeres and Zubimendi, now that he's here, I think yeah, we're ready.
are we though?
We'll see. Yeah, I think Arsenal not done in the transfer window. Well, I think it's like to be honest with you, Eze was the dream. I've been pretty a negative when it comes to. I didn't think we were gonna get Eze. I thought the club was done, but the fact that we're not only got Eze, but we're going to infinity and beyond, and we're potentially getting a top player in Nkapie. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Perfect. In Capier,
Awesome.
in Capier, but
Nkapie,
that's close.
Nkapie.
Yeah,
Close, very close.
yeah, yeah.
Upgrading on Kiwior, dude. Like this is unprecedented win. Like this is the unprecedented window that I think we all would dream of. If you told an Arsenal fan, most fans, myself included, that we got all the signings that we have already gotten, and then we're not done, we're moving on to even better targets. I think I'd call you crazy
Yeah. Well,
because and I yeah
no. So okay. So I'm gonna let everybody in on my brain here for a second, like kind of the way I think, and I reflect on stuff that I've seen hints. So there's a very notable X account called the Purple Panel. You heard of that one, Cal?
no, I actually haven't.
Yeah, so he's kind of like a bit of an ITK, but he's actually generally very accurate and he doesn't tweet a lot. He only really tweets things that like are very credible. And he made this tweet, and this is about the beginning of June. It said, Andrea Berta, the octopus. So for me, at that point, I'm like, Arsenal signing 8 players. And at one point we were at 6. And before Eze, I'm like, okay, maybe that probably went out the window. And then you kind of had this thought, like I had this thought after we signed Eze. I'm like, he did say the octopus, right? Are we running out of time? Like, who's the 8th player? Is it Rodrigo? Like that we would love for it to be Rodrigo. I kind of at one point thought it could be Jarell Hato, but then the other day, and me and Cal were chatting on our private WhatsApp, and I just saw the build a link to Piero in Capier to Arsenal, and I just sent it to Cal, and I'm like, dude, if we get him, I swear to God, we are going to be awesome. And what happened after that, Cal?
Well, to be honest, I didn't really believe you at first because the first how it first started off, it was saying he was pushing for a move, and then we had the Kivio links, and then you were saying, "Oh, Arsenal should go in for this player," and I said, "Nah, we're probably not. We're not going to go in for him. We'd probably
You
go in
said we're
for
gonna
one
go
of the younger
for
players."
yeah, Jacquet.
Yeah, yeah. I thought we were going because we were linked with him earlier because I couldn't see us going for a top level player like that now. Because I thought we'd be because we bought so many of older players as well, players in their prime. I thought we'd try to go younger because Eze's 27,
He's young.
Gyökeres
He's
is
23.
27, and yeah. But I just thought we would get someone like super like project youth type of thing,
Mm.
but because I thought it was a bit of a pipe dream, but I was happily wrong, and
So
I've been proven wrong a lot
this is
this
my
window.
mind why we bought him, and I'll go a bit into this player because one thing you'll learn is that I love football. So sometimes when there's not Premier League games, and I've watched through all the Premier League highlights, and I still have some time to kill, I like to watch. I don't watch live games from other leagues, but I will. I have um, the honor or whatever the privilege
Privilege.
of being able to have so many streaming services. So They show the Bundesliga on beIN Sport here, so I watch a lot of the Bundesliga. In fact, if I were to pick a team in the Bundesliga, it would be Bayer Leverkusen, because especially the players that they've had over the last few years, very entertaining to watch. And of course, I have in my eye on Granit Xhaka, former Arsenal player. So in the midst of all that, I have been looking at Piero Hincapié for a couple of years, and I think my thoughts. This is my thoughts. I think he's come into the Arsenal's plans now, about a week ago, because I don't think anybody thought he was leaving Bayer Leverkusen. As Arteta says, we will be active on opportunities that come into the
Market
market.
opportunities, yeah.
Opportunities. And one market opportunity was Berechi Eze, and I think this shows you that he's going to be definitely playing on the left wing, and this also signals that I think Rodrigo is probably not coming. So what he needed to do was figure out a way to still give Arsenal width, and the other way to give Arsenal width is to have an overlapping fullback. And now there are a lot of people, Carl, who think that Hincapié is a center back because that's what he's
Yeah.
listed. But if you actually
Yeah.
were to open up and look at highlights of Hincapié, I see no center back action whatsoever.
Yeah, and you're the expert on him, but just assuming that, he is going to be playing that, left back role, and he does kind of do the overlapping actions that we want our left back to be doing with Eze on the pitch. It's exactly what we need. When we signed Eze, that was one of my first things that I was thinking about, because I was thinking, we have Calafiori, but Calafiori is a little injury prone, you know what I'm saying? And he's the only true overlapping fullback on that left hand side. And I was, mulling it over with myself and thinking maybe as Lewis Kelly will have to learn how to do that, even though he likes drifting in the middle as well. But if we get Hincapié in here, man, that gives us so many options in the team. And he will be pushing first team football, and he's, entering his prime. He's at that age. So it's really, really exciting to see us building that left hand side. It's probably going to be looking way, way healthier with those two
Yeah.
in.
So the way I kind of envision him is, I feel like it's going to be like a mirror of what Arsenal tried to do on the right hand side, where we have that kind of trio of White and Odegaard and Saka, and I think we're going to replicate that on the left by doing Eze, Rice, and Hincapié, where you're going to add a lot more balance into Arsenal, because our biggest issue has been that people find us very predictable, because when we go forward and we attack, we almost ignore our left.
Mhm.
We're somebody who is on crutches, and we have one active right foot, and we are constantly going to the right, going to the right, going to the right, and that is a big issue. And it's one of the big reasons why Odegaard's creativity and his production has dropped off as well, is because he doesn't not feel confident in feeding the left and creating. He'll be able to create chances on the left. And so what this does is be able to make it so that teams don't know where we're coming from. Are we coming off the left? Are we coming off the right? Now we're still going to have these issues for a little bit until we know what's going to go on with Bukayo Saka, where it might actually go completely to the other direction. But yeah, look, Hincapié is an all action everything. Like, you turn on the highlights, he does everything. He's perfectly built for Arsenal. He is great set pieces. He's amazing in the air. He's amazing crosser of the ball. He's got great vision. He's got great pace. And yeah, as he said, he overlaps. Yeah, he's just incredibly athletic. Like, yeah, we are going, Arsenal fans. We are, if he does indeed sign on the dotted line, and I gotta keep putting if here. I don't want to assume. We don't want to be this having the same fate as Tottenham did last week. Although that is also another great side point to this conversation as well, Cal, isn't it?
Yeah, and but just a little a little bit more. I just want to say this. I really like Kivio. I really do. I've been in his corner because I think he is kind of like the perfect squad player. He every time he came in, he did a job. So, it's for me personally, I have a soft spot for him. But like if we're upgrading it, upgrading it for with this guy, it's It's really something special.
Yeah, and make no mistake about it, by the way. I don't want the thing is one problem when players like this come from other leagues is that people don't really have a great understanding of what the player is and they make assumptions. So I've heard things like, oh, he's going to be the backup for Gabrielle, and or oh, we don't need another Calafiori. We already have a Calafiori. Capier is not Calafiori, and Capier is a lot more composed on the ball, and he's a lot faster actually, and a lot more decisive in what he's doing. So he's more of he's more of a fullback than he is a center back, which is where people get it wrong. Yes, he played center back a lot because they played back three at Leverkusen, and that fits well. But when you play on the left side of a back three, that naturally makes you a good defensive left back in a back four. So
Yeah,
that's kind of,
it's the
and
same thing
also
with Eze.
yeah. So it's just like, yeah, oh, it's the defense, Cal.
Like the
Oh
left, like the left 10 in a, with I think they do one at the front, two tens, and then 4-4. And yeah, he does a lot of the left wing options. So, people just call him, oh, he's just a 10. He can't play on the wing. And it's just, come on, man, watch the game. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. Look, and I feel like a lot of people say that stuff because they're trying to hold on and hope. I've been hearing people saying, "Oh, you still didn't address the left-hand side." I'm like, I think we did. I think we did address the
Yeah.
left-hand side, and they're about to look. At the end of the day, one thing that's beautiful is the window's going to be closed in 6 days, and the dreaming can stop, and the reality can start, and the football can start, and people will really start to see what's going on the pitch. But yeah, Hincapié is not a backup player. I just want to say, if he comes into look, I think again, I need to kind of retract a few statements that I made the other day on the terrace. Not the overlying idea that I think he can be the best left back in the league, because I do think that. But from day one, obviously we know Arteta, he's going to bet him in. He probably will be a backup to begin with, slowly bet him in, especially when you're playing defense and you're switching leagues. It's actually tougher because, well, Arsenal is such a high standard of defending that the pace is so much different, and it's kind of like you're not up to that same readiness, that same well drilled, like not as well drilled as everybody else. So he's going to have to get
Mm.
and learn how we play defense, and before he's able
Yeah.
to kind of hit that
I mean,
stride.
look at Calafiori. I think he's now we're starting to see what he is, I mean, I think he was a bit derailed last season with injuries, but I think the Calafiori that we've been seeing for the past couple of games he's a different beast,
Mm,
he just seems
he's actually
so
much better,
different.
isn't he?
And man,
It
that
feels
left hand
cruel,
is
by the
gonna be
way,
kept.
if all of a sudden Calafiori's hitting his form, and all of a sudden we brought in a guy to start ahead of him.
We're a big club. I'm sorry. There's competition
Mm,
for positions. We want top players. We want that. We want that problem. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, we do. But I will say, and I just think that the overall quality of fullbacks in the Premier League is actually pretty low. I can only name about on a handful real top quality, not just left backs, but right backs. So I think as well, I think this guy, honestly, I do not take back that statement. I think once he finds his footing in Arsenal and he's used to the league, I think he will be the best left back in the Premier League. And it's not to say he's this world class player. It's just to also say that the quality of left backs in the league. I seriously, Cal, quick before we move on. Can you name me like five really top left backs in the Prem? Left backs.
Left backs. Okay, I would say Cucurella is the first that
Mm.
comes to mind. Um, would I put Marcelo Skelly in that conversation just yet? I think he is a lot better than a lot of people in the league, to be
Mm.
honest.
That's the thing.
Um,
So we're talking about a guy who can start ahead of Lewis Skelly, and you already think
yeah,
Lewis Skelly's top five.
yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about who's Chelsea have at. Well, Chelsea is
Yeah,
Cucurella.
Chelsea Cucurella,
Manchester United, no. Just
Dorgu,
thinking of traditional.
Spence. You got Spence for Tottenham.
Yeah, just Spence. He's actually leveling up a little bit.
You got
Um,
Vardiol, who I think is the top guy
is
for
he?
City. Yeah.
He hasn't. I guess he
Well,
is
I
pretty good.
well Ait
Last
Nouri,
season, good season.
But Ait Nouri is probably going to be out for a lengthy amount of time.
I haven't seen him
So
enough, to be honest.
yeah.
I don't think.
So
Yeah, I don't think
It's not it's not a
the
big task to
yeah,
you
the
get what I'm
fullback
saying? It's not a
positions is just
crazy statement.
yeah, they're pretty mid. To be honest, fullbacks in general are like it's not the most glorious position. I think Trent has is probably one of the most prestigious fullbacks in world football right now, you know? And the only fullbacks I could think of that kind of really the Real Madrid fullbacks of old are the big ones that I could think of that really made an impact, you know. And obviously he who shall be named who played for Arsenal. But
He was a special player. Let's be
yeah.
honest.
But speaking of squad depth and fullbacks, well, fullbacks and squad depth, we might be happy of our squad depth because of what happened during the game. Um,
Yeah,
a
this
little
with
bit of a
this.
concern. Yep, Odegaard and Saka. To be fair, we did get some very good updates because we've been worried about this, and they've done their scans and they're saying Saka could be out for just about 4 weeks, and there is the international break coming up, and Odegaard. I don't think he's going to play against Liverpool, but his seems even less of an issue. So, but that being said, what do you think we're going to do against Liverpool, and what do you think of the injuries in general?
Well, I think we've dodged a bullet because when Saka came off, I was fearing the worst. Like I was listening to Terry talk as his match reaction, and a lot of the stuff he said were very true. That sometimes when you have knee injuries, now the good news, there are two good things. Number one, it was on his opposite. It was not a re-injury of the original right hamstring. It's a left hamstring. And it's only a grade one, not even. So he's gonna be out for 3 to 4. So it was almost like a tiny little rip in the hamstring, very minor. So it's not going to need surgery. So and another thing is that the timing is it's bad because we got right before Liverpool, but it's good because we're going to get a 2 week break, international break. So 3 to 4 weeks, you can scratch 2 of those weeks off, and then you got the Liverpool. So there's a potential that he could be back after the break. I wouldn't maybe play him against Forest, but I think he should be ready to go against City at home. And and the way I see it is by the time we play City, let's see how our results are against Liverpool and Forest. But I think we could that could be a game where Eze's bedded in, and Kapia, if he's in, is bedded in, and you could have just this dream lineup ready to go against Man City for the very first time. That's if all the stars align because you don't know if who else gets hurt or misses time or whatever. But I think it doesn't not going to affect our season. Unfortunately, it's going to affect our game and the way I maybe see us going. And I think there are two different options here. What the for option one, which I think Arteta will go with, sorry to Arsenal fans who are not happy with Martinelli, but Arteta loves Martinelli away from home, especially at Anfield. He's actually got a good record playing at Anfield. I think Martinelli is going to play on the left, and because Odegaard might be out, that I think that Eze starts in the middle. I don't know if he trusts Ethan Nwaneri yet to play away from home in that style. There's some players, especially the younger ones, I feel like Arteta feels a lot more comfortable playing them at home. But he's got a great success going away from home against Big Six opposition because he's got this template, this style he likes to play, and there are certain players he trusts more than anything to make that style work. And one of them is Gabriel Martinelli. So I don't really see Ethan in there. The other option I see is, and again, this is the other good news, is that Odegaard might still play. So we have yet to get an update on Odegaard. My feeling is that he's fine. Like he played 20 minutes after the shoulder. He didn't seem to be bothering him. I mean, the commentator was saying how his play was looking good in the 20 minutes. And I'm like, his play hasn't been looking good for 6 months. I don't think it had to do with the shoulder. So I think maybe there's a potential that Odegaard might start and you might get Eze off the left. But at the same time, actually, if Odegaard starts, now that I'm talking mid sentence, and I'm going to correct myself here, Martinelli might still play on the left, and Eze might come off the bench case that Odegaard's ready to go. What do you think?
Well, to be honest, I don't think we're gonna see Martinelli play much this season. To be honest with you, I don't think he plays again at Anfield. I think I think we probably start Eze on the left because of what's been coming up the club. Because the club always kind of they give us little teasers and I think none of Arteta said this, but they were saying that I've never seen a player embedded so quickly in the team.
He
And
said that
when I'm
already.
starting to hear, yeah, that
Oh,
was coming out of the camp. Like they've never seen a player just fit in so well.
yep. Said the
And
same thing
so
about Gyökeres. Oh, I've never seen a guy who.
yeah, yeah. So I think we play. I think Eze does start, but I think if Eze starts in the 10, we probably play Trossard on the
Mm,
left. So I think it's either going to be Eze or Trossard on the left. And I do think, honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised to see Waneri start again at
yeah,
Anfield because
maybe
I
maybe
think
I'm just being very conservative
yeah,
in my thought
I
process.
think he is. I've been seeing new things from him. And I think he might go for broke. And obviously, we're going to get Madueke coming in for Saka on that right hand side. And to be honest, this is the first time in a long time. Actually, it's the first time ever I've seen players like Odegaard and Saka go down. And the next game, I'm not worried.
Mm,
I'm going away to Anfield, and I'm not worried. Like think about that. With Saka not playing and Odegaard might not be playing because of how much our squad depth. You know, it's not just all on Saka and Odegaard to create something anymore. We have Eze in the team. We didn't even talk about Gyökeres. He scored 2 goals. He's going to be firing. We have Zubimendi, who doesn't have a right side bias. He has left and right 50-50. So
mm.
I'm very it's the first time I've felt that we can survive periods of time without some of our best players because of our squad depth. And that just goes to show how, you know, good the window's been. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, and if Nkapie is also in here, he's probably not going to
I
start
don't think
against.
he'll be
He's probably.
playing against
I don't
Liverpool.
think he'd be playing at all. But just to, on the whole, even though we have injuries, we can deal with them. Like that. That's just injury concerns, yes, but you know, it's not the end of the world, and that's great.
I
That's
mean,
great. And speaking of,
a year ago, we would be thinking the season's done, wouldn't we?
yeah, yeah, we'd be it will be Duma settings. Like, look how we felt. This happened last season, by the way.
We did actually
Saka
have both
going
of them out.
down, and Odegaard went going down, and they were both down at the same time. You know, but you know, even though we have injuries, key, stay positive. And that's how I feel about this transfer window. And that's how I feel going into the season. I think the vibe has to change and we can't be too negative now because I think the club has done the things that they need to do to give the fans the confidence to move forward.
Yeah, I would say so. And I think that leads us on onto our next topic here, which is look, I'm gonna remove this. Yeah, Arsenal. I thought let's talk more about the game we played on the weekend against Leeds. And it was a brilliant display, despite how slow it began in terms of the play. And it's something I want to touch on a little bit, just because I feel like a lot of our fans have really keyed in on that first 30 minutes of the game way more than they should.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
and the rest of the 60 minutes was a complete change from what we've been seeing from Arsenal. It was electric. Now, there is the caveat that is we are playing against a newly promoted side, and the both of us said last week that that is what we expect. The minimum expectation was for us to be able to be firing against this team. So they
Mm.
kind of just met the minimum expectation, but boy did it look good. And when Victor Gyökeres took the ball on his own down the left, cut inside, put it into the near post, man,
You know what
Cal.
I love? You know what I love about that goal? It's the exact goal they said that he wouldn't be able to score in the Premier League. It's
Mm. Doesn't the
he's
Premier League look like Portugal
all
at the moment, don't it?
dude. It's like all he does, and he just did it anyway. and he's so strong. Like he's dribbling the ball because he dribbles past two players, but it's not like this fancy footwork. It's like fast, efficient, and they can't get the ball off him because he's just too much of a goddamn tack. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And then he just, it was perfect moment. And let me just say this: that penalty that he took is that's probably the best penalty I've seen from an Arsenal player in a while. Not to be too gassed, but
I know
see, like
we sound
the
super
power,
gas. I'm not gonna lie.
dude.
Like
Yeah,
in the league,
like the speed,
everything's the
the
best
power.
this, the best of
Yeah,
that.
the speed, the power. It was just like even if I can't even remember if the goalkeeper dived the right way. I don't think he did, but even if he did, he
No,
wasn't
he
going to
did.
stop it.
He dived to the right way. He did.
Yeah, so he wasn't stopping that, and that's what we need. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, none
yeah,
of that silly run. Like I love Bukayo Saka, but he does that shuffling of the feet, and it makes me
yeah,
goddamn nervous. I have that West Ham game when we had the chance to go back up after getting a penalty
mm,
in my head, and he skied it over the top, and and now and again the Real
that
Madrid last year as well. We got a
the
penalty in
the
the first
the
10
fake
minutes.
the fake Panenka.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's like no, we've now got a guy now who is no bullshit, and he's just gonna rocket that thing into the corner. And yeah,
yeah,
I was
man.
I was just saying the Premier League, the Emirates looked a lot like the Portuguese league this weekend. Where like
Yeah,
like all the clips, all the videos I watched of Victor Gyökeres, it looked verbatim like that, and this was in the Premier League. And maybe it might not look that way against a team more established in the league. And I guess that's the next question for him to answer. And if he can score and make an impact away at Anfield as well, which I think we're going to really need, especially if we're not going to have Saka in the lineup. We're going to need to play a little bit more Gyökeres ball. But I think it is suited to him in this way because Arsenal are going to need a counter attack. And at the moment, Liverpool are missing key players in their defense. They're not going to have a right back. They're playing Szoboszlai at right back. And while Liverpool fans are giving me all this chest about, oh, don't worry, I'm not worried about your left hand side. I'm like, when you got Eze and Gyökeres coming at you, and you don't have a real fullback, is Szoboszlai going to be able to handle? That's the question, and that's where I think
hmm
we're going to be able to really attack them.
yeah. And also, are they going to be able to score against us like they do other teams? I don't think so. We're the best defense in world football. We have the most depth in defense in world football. That's something that we kind of bank on, and we're improving our defense this off season. And well, it's not the off season, but in the transfer window, and we're improving the attack. So, yeah, I don't think next week is a must win, but I'm not afraid of what Liverpool has to offer. Just because we're not going to get bullied like these other teams, and our record against the top six has been great. I think we get something out of this game because we've gotten things with lesser squads.
Yeah, I mean, think about the teams that weren't to some of these away games last year when we had all these injuries. We were going with Moreno up front the last time we went to Anfield. So I'm just I'm just saying, everyone, while we can also get gassed, I feel like a lot of people also go the other way, where they have a completely rewritten history of what happened, like,
Mm,
and they
mm.
don't put things in perspective. So people say
Yeah,
like,
and that's
"Oh, I'm not worried about your attack." People were saying that to me earlier this week. I'm not worried about your attack. Your attack is still very something that's really, really, I feel comfortable, with. I'm like, that's a different team that came out last year. Like, not even the same players. Like,
yeah, yeah. It's trying to negotiate like that's not gonna it's not gonna go well. No one's gonna
yeah,
really pay attention. But you were touching on something earlier about everyone focusing on the first 30 minutes because like we've just spoken of like for the last 10 minutes about the positive of the game, but some bit of not most of the fan base, but a little bit of the fan base was just extremely negative about a 5-0 win because we weren't playing scintillating football for the first 13 minutes, and I think that mentality just has to change. we can't be that negative when we're scoring goals, getting points. You know, we can't diss our own team for scoring set pieces because it's what we do. We're the best at it, you know, and we have so many new players, and scoring goals gives them confidence. You know what I'm saying? These
Mm.
goals that Eucharist just scored is going to give him confidence going into the Anfield game. So
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous to try and nitpick the first 20, 30 minutes of the game when we actually did dig deep, got something done, and then completely turned the game on its head because of our quality.
Mm. Well, I hate to say something so simple, but at the end of the day, people need to remember this is competitive sports, and there are two teams on the pitch, and leads play their part in that. It's not like we're just playing, our football and there's nobody out there but us. Like there's another
Mm,
team that's competing. They're trying to negate what we're doing. They had a lot of their energy earlier on. They came out to the Emirates, like a lot of teams of that quality do, to try to negate what we're doing, to try to stop us. And yes, that's sort of the challenge. That's why we bought an Ebereche Eze, because we struggled at breaking down these teams at times. And sometimes you just need that first one. Like so many of those games that we last year struggled in, that we couldn't find the back of the net. One of those chances goes in the first half, and that could go on from a 0-0 to a 5-0. Like, and I think that's the importance as well of the set pieces, is that sometimes when we're not able to find the inspiration or break a team up, break a team down, we put in one of those routines from a corner and go up 1-0 that way to create that, that comfortability, that space, knowing that all of a
mm.
sudden we're in front. The other team needs to come out now to try to score, and it opens the game up. And I think that's
And
exactly, yeah.
yep, and what I was going to say, and I just thought about this as you're talking about that. The thing about set pieces, especially our corners, is like when the game's kind of things aren't flowing, this is something that you practice, you run the routine, and you get the results. It's something that the players can fall back on. It's not something that, it's something that even if things aren't flowing the way you are, things just aren't ticking, you can always just run the plays that you that you've been running in practice over and over again because the game states exactly the same in terms of running those set pieces. Scoring from open play, you kind of have to have things go your way. Like you have to have your wingers need to beat someone. You need to have that through pass that kind of that happens because the opponents made a mistake and you find space, other stuff like that. The thing about set pieces is that you run your routines, and that's why when the players score from set pieces, we it kind of the energy comes back, and we start playing football again. And to be honest with you, like scoring from that set piece and us playing that the good football that we saw after the fact just probably means we're just gonna the gap between finding ourselves in the game are just gonna decrease more and more and more, and soon we're gonna be playing that second half football at the start of games. And even when things don't go our way, we still have set pieces. It's just something in our arsenal
Mm.
that we. So yeah,
Yeah, and I think another thing that should be pointed out, by the way, is technically from from the other team's point of view, is if that is such a big weapon, a lot of the teams might be end up trying to avoid us being able to be in situations where they get set pieces. So they might pull out of the challenge and make sure we don't get a free kick. They may not. They might give us a little bit more space so that the ball doesn't go out for a corner, which again then allows us to attack them in the more natural, free flowing way. So sometimes they can go so far to the other way to avoid the set piece that we can kill them in the regular way. So it's always kind of a mind game. It's
yeah.
always a
And the
game of
thing
chess.
is, the rivals hate the set pieces, but when we get a corner in a game, you see, I want you to watch all the reactions, how upset people were. Of course, Arsenal's going to score from the set piece. The crowd goes up. The enemy shrinks. They're shitting their pants every time we get a corner. because it's like everything is against them. The odds are against them when we get these set pieces. It's a fair factor, and fair make people make mistakes. So I'm all in.
I don't know if you watch the NFL that much, Cal, at all. Do you?
No, I don't. I tried to once, but
Okay,
I couldn't
okay.
get into it.
So I made a reference the other day on the match reaction, and everyone was. I think they kind of just like conveniently just didn't say anything because they're like, I don't know what he's talking about. But in the NFL, so my team, the Eagles, there's this play called the tush push, and in the NFL, similarly to how our corners were for Arsenal, it absolutely rattles fans. So the idea of the tush push basically is they basically get behind the quarterback and they push him over the line. It's like this new play that they created, and it's very very ugly, and no other team is able to stop it. And it gets to the point where the other team just go crazy and doing ridiculous creative things and try to stop it. But no matter what, it's coming, and it always gets the job done. It always gets the extra yard, gets the first down, gets the touchdown in those situations. And people try to go ahead and try to ban it, and my thing is that that is an amazing thing. That is a championship ingredient. When you have something that nobody else can copy and it rattles everybody else and they can't stop, like that means that you have got something special. You've created a loophole in the game that it just drives everybody nuts. And if I was Arsenal, if I was Arsenal fans, embrace it. Set
Mm,
piece again, ole ole. Like honestly, like that has to be the mantra, because
yeah.
like I feel this is a great segue to what we're going to talk about, and I think we should speak to our fans a little bit in general, a bit more directly. We need to stop basing our opinions and our thought process on what our rivals think of us. Like, that's the idea of having a rival. Like, is that when we're successful, we get to rub it in their face. We don't back away. And I just feel like a lot of fans nowadays, and I get it. We had PTSD from past seasons. Last year was pretty scarring, like the way our attack was pretty scarring. But I've noticed this pattern throughout the summer transfer window, throughout our preseason. I just kind of want to point it out now. And Cal, feel free to jump in at any time on this because you probably have a lot of feelings on it as well. But I just felt like during the preseason, yes, there were times we looked like we were struggling with the attack, especially in that Spurs game, especially in the Villarreal game. And everybody started hitting on panic modes like, oh no, we have the same issues in our attack. Our signings aren't making a difference. Arteta doesn't know anything what he's doing in the attack. And look, that there could be that's a whole other topic that we can pinpoint and whatever we want to. But the thing is, during this preseason, all of our signings went through the door. He's playing a lot of different lineups that he's never going to play a combination of in the season. So, for instance, Rice, Odegaard, and Zubamendi, our first choice midfield, played a combination of about 10 minutes all
Yeah.
together throughout the entire preseason. Like they never until we played Bilbao, which there was
Mm.
basically like a dress rehearsal. But like, and everyone's like, "Oh no, the attack, everything's wrong." Like Victor Gyökeres just came off the plane, off of a probably flying a combined 36 hours. Like, and then he played for 10 minutes against Tottenham. Oh, Gyökeres is a bust. Oh my god, he's
They
so
started the
bad.
yep, yep,
Like, and just it's just we're just way too quick into caring what rivals saying and letting it translate into what we say about our own club. Like in the transfer window, I get it. There were stressful periods of time. It took 3 weeks for us to get Gyökeres, and the people are like, just pay the money. I mean, come on. We're like, we need the striker, or what are we doing, Madueke? Or like me and Cal. Look, we're not preaching to you like we are above this, because we do this ourselves.
yep.
A day
I mean,
before
to be
last week's
like,
podcast, we were like go losing our heads about not getting Eze,
yep.
calling out the
I
club
mean,
and
I've
stuff like
I've
that.
been I've been losing my head a bit, because I was losing my head for the Madueke signing. I was losing my head a little bit because we weren't. I thought the window was going to end without getting anyone. I thought like if Gyökeres was like the last player that we do get, but it's not. It's about kind of understanding, okay, I thought the club was going to not do the right thing, but now they're doing the right thing. So
Mm,
you kind of change, you know what I'm saying? If you thought that the style of play was kind of whack and we weren't winning games in preseason, well, now we're winning games. You know what I'm saying? We're winning games now. We won a scrappy game last week against United. Everyone was losing their heads. People were treating us like if we lost the game, which was insane. The narrative, you know, Manchester United were acting like they won the game even though they lost, and now that negativity kind of bled into this game where even though we won 5-0, people are complaining about the first 30 minutes. So I think like what are we doing here? Like if you're not like I'm not gonna tell someone how to be a fan, but like
mm,
if you're not excited with Zubamendi Gyökeres as a 6 goals scored, our main striker scored 2 goals. We uh we won all our games. I'm not sure what you want because the season isn't over yet and there's still a lot of football left. So like if you're a guy who's not gonna enjoy watching us win the games until we've won all of them, I really don't understand why you're here. And that might sound get a lot of people upset and pissed off, but if the team is winning all their games and scoring a lot of goals and the club is getting all the players that we need, I don't know what else is there. You know what I
mm.
mean?
Yeah, look, I'm gonna get a little bit philosophical with you here, and I believe a lot in manifestation, and so this is one thing I'm trying to impose upon now that I have this platform and I got the platform to speak and people will listen. Um, what I want to say is that what you think is very powerful. What you say out loud is very powerful. It's not about necessarily some sort of magic or a changing universe. It's how it's just sort of just how you perceive things and the world changes around you when you speak things into existence into a certain way. So I'll give you an example of what people have been doing and what I think is not a good way to do it, which is worrying about be getting bantered if you stick your chest out, worrying about um, things that were going on in the past, worrying about getting heartbroken. So it's like, I'm worried about getting heartbroken. So I'm going to stay in my bedroom and never go out and never meet any girls ever. Or I'm going to put myself out there, show everybody what I got. And, the positive vibes attract positive results. And so when you come and I can tell you, by the way, I've been on shows this week and it's rattled my positive energy. Uh, Positive Dan, big up to him as well, fellow Gooner, we know very well. And even negative Dan, similar thing, right? He also came with somewhat chest, with showing some positive energy. And fans, rival fans, I can tell you right now, are rattled. You know what club fan base is the most rattled of all? Liverpool, because Liverpool have the most to lose. Liverpool have been arrogantly talking about like how they have this team that is absolutely unstoppable and nobody's even close, and assuming that they have Isak on their team even though he does not play for them, and this league is over and blah blah blah. And all of a sudden, while they're dreaming about signings, and we're talking about potential players who can play for Liverpool, Arsenal is buying actual physical players who are actually now playing for Arsenal. And now we are the favorites. And so it's just the facts. And even the betting companies agree with us that we are favorites. So if we are that way, act that way, right? Be be it, right? If you want to win the league, talk about it. I'll give you a story, and I'll let Cal chime in here in a second. So I'll talk about the Eagles again. Last year, I was on a different network called Jacob, and I'll be back there, by the way, in a week's time when the season starts to go on their match reactions too. And they also came off of a very, very scarring season, full of injuries, where they dropped out in the first round, and the next year they bought all these good players. They bought Saquon Barkley, who ran over to 2,000 yards, and the team looked a bit shaky at the start because they bought a lot of new players and they were still trying to get. And I was like, I could see something special here, and everybody thought I was crazy. And by week 2, week 3, I was saying, I think this team can win the Super Bowl, and everyone laughed in my face. Fast forward 20 weeks later, the Eagles won the Super Bowl in the most rampant way, dominant way possible against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. The team had just won back-to-back titles, and they blew them off the field. That's what I'm talking about. So while there might be questions, and I think it's always good to internally look at things and try to figure out how to improve things, because obviously that's a very important part. And not everything is perfect. So you can be self-critical in a positive manner, but we need to believe. We need to believe that we have what it takes now to go all the way. We need to be in our rival fans' face and not shy away. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think the Twickenham rivals definitely need to stop, and I do think that we do need to be like just be objective about the team and try to take a step out of it, because if another team was doing what Arsenal's doing, I think a lot of our negative fan base would probably praise them, to be honest, because we are moving like a big club and we are doing the big things. So I think, and and you are right about the positive energy, because you can feel it. You could feel it in the stadium when the crowd is behind the players and there's true belief everything's changed. Because I mean, when you think about our best season, which was the 23-24, when we were pushing for that title, and we almost won every single game except the Aston Villa one, which, I mean, asking to win every single game is harsh, but we almost did it, and we
We have
took it to
the
the very
record
last
amount
day.
of games won in a row in the club's history for that
Yeah,
period of time.
so it's when you think about the vibes during that season. I mean, during that part of the season, it was insane. And to be honest, when I think about it, in those games we were scoring 4 or 5 goals every game. So, and we just scored 5 goals. But let's celebrate these wins and be more confident. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I'm not saying you have to say Arsenal are the favorites, because even though I actually do think we're the
Yeah.
favorites if Liverpool don't get Isaac. To be honest, if we get Nkapie, I think we're still the favorites, even if they do get Isaac, depending on Nkapie. But that's just my opinion has completely changed because of what's happened. You know, it's changed because we're winning games and we're signing the players. We're doing everything we're supposed to do. And at the end of the day, I'm an Arsenal fan. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, like honestly, this is the type of signs like that you're doing the right thing. Is like we're in a group chat with a bunch of other fans from other clubs, and people are going, "Oh, for F's sake, another player going to Arsenal!"
mm,
Like, look at that as an
yeah,
indication to say Arsenal are doing the right things, man. They are doing the right things. Like let's not base this season off of last season. Last season was, I felt like, an outlier for me in the last few, where you know we had that first really good surprising run and we were 8 points clear in the Premier League, and they had the one we pushed City to the very, very end. And I feel like last year, just sometimes it's just hard to maintain that level all the time. And it's hard for everything to be perfect. It's hard for everyone to stay fit, for all the stars to align always. So every season is not going to be a repeat of the previous one. And I just think this time around, I think we're well equipped. And I felt that way before last season was even over, when I saw that Zubimendi was a here we go before the season even ended. And we were talking about, tweets about Gyökeres and Rodrigo from certain sources already while we were still playing Premier League football at the back end of last year. And I was like, I'm ready to say goodbye to this year. It's been a really bad, tough time, but next year is going to be awesome. And that's where we are. We're in the awesome year, guys. So Yeah, that's kind of all I have to say on that topic. But man, I'm so pumped. I'm actually pumped for the season. I'm
Yeah,
ready to
and
go.
another thing to get pumped about is, the way we've been moving with, our youth and Max Dahman coming through, all our young players that we currently have in Miles Lewis Kelly, Waneri, and how we've been low key trying to sign younger players in the transfer window, and where with the youth combined with the things that we've been doing, signing players in their prime and winning games, I think it's just great. I think
Actually, I
that
got a
just that
question
adds
on
to
that,
it.
Cal. Actually, for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Chelsea. I've tried. You were just talking about trying to build longevity by signing a lot of young players, and I feel like sometimes they overdo that profile. But do you think that Arsenal are achieving the same result but in a different manner?
In terms of signing a lot of
In terms of still being able to have a longevity while
oh yes,
also
most of
being able to challenge right away, and you know what I'm saying?
yeah, but the thing is, I think we've kind of built. The thing is, like Chelsea did it from the start of their process, whereas we've kind of built a title challenging team, and we're trying to maintain that. And because we have that extremely solid base, we've now can put in youth in there without disrupting our title challenges. And to be honest with you, I think no one really we got a little bit lucky with unlucky because the injuries last season meant that Waneri and Maslow Skelly kind of got pushed way faster than they normally would have. And we're taking advantage of that. We're taking advantage of the fact that these young players are, good enough to actually play proper minutes in top flight. And we're now starting to see the fruits of our academy come through because this is our academy right now. What we're seeing right now is didn't happen yesterday. This is 10, 10 years of hard work signing these players when they're like 8 years old and getting them, keeping them. So
Can you imagine
I know
how
we like,
special it must be to be a scout to see an 8-year-old boy?
yeah,
You're like, oh, I think this guy could be, I don't know,
mm,
a world class player, and you just see he's like an
mm,
8-year old, like he's in what year two at school, like
mm. Yeah. So I think the way we're approaching it is different, but I think it's better because if we can maintain our title challenges, we could have a conveyor belt of youth players just come through and maintain our levels.
yeah, I think there's a sort of a bit of a point of like you were talking about. You sent me a message the other day about the new signing that we brought in, um, Victor Ozianuva from plays in Scotland. Anyway,
Yeah.
Shamrock Rovers. So actually, they said that it's a pre-agreement deal from 2027, and I'm just thinking that maybe our strategy here is creating a culture where you can pass the baton. So you've
Yeah.
got like a good, solid group of players. Now, the idea is, and I know that this is going to bring out a bunch of laughs from our rivals again. And again, I don't give a shit. The idea is for us to start winning trophies, to create a winning culture at Arsenal. And once that happening, that's why we're signing ready now players at 27. I heard Cal the other week. He was talking on a separate podcast, and he was saying, "Well, we've already just bought a 27-year-old Gyökeres, so maybe Arsenal just don't want enough of those players." And here we are again, and we actually did end up bringing in we brought in a Capier now as a 23 years old. 23 years old now. That's a bit of a different than 27. But the thing is we got a team that's ready to play, and then when these young players come in, they're coming in with high level expectations. I think when Saka and Emil Smith Rowe broke into the team, they were breaking into a team without an identity, and they had to create that identity almost on their own. Um,
Exactly.
they were the
100%.
new energy, the revitalization, which was a lot of I think a lot of pressure on a kid to do that. I think now that some of these kids can go and witness some of these players in training. I think having an Eze changes the way that our number 10s. So we were looking at it earlier. Cal was saying, looking at Victor O, I'll call him Victor O, that he's a number 10. And I'm like, well, how amazing would it be, to be able to be a number 10 at Arsenal and watch Abreche Eze and Martin Odegaard. So you get two different styles of number 10s you get to see in training and learn and speak to them and ask them questions. And it just makes you a better player. Like from Max Dowman to be able to learn from those players, Saka, um, like it makes those players, that youth project, even more effective. Look at Ethan. Look at Ethan's step up from last year to, like, if you really took a look at the game against Leeds this weekend, you didn't even notice. If anything, it wasn't even a drop. If anything, also played better when
I
he
thought
came
I th-
on, and
I
he's
thought
just a
even when he
whole other
was,
level.
yeah, yeah, and he was also doing a little bit more of the Odegaard thing, like where he was dropping a little bit deeper to help, um, progress the play, but he wasn't going as deep as Odegaard, and he was actually moving the ball faster than he was. So I thought he was doing a really good job. And I think a lot of people said he didn't really do a good job. I think it's becoming kind of hard to judge one area right now, and that's a conversation for another time. But
I think a lot
in
of
terms
people in
of,
general have a hard time judging midfielders.
yeah,
I
it's
think a lot
fair.
of people just
It's not
like
the easiest.
GNA, 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 and that's a very lazy analysis. So
Mm.
sometimes the guy doesn't get G and A, and he didn't have a good game. And then people who really watch the game will be like, "You, what are you talking about? Did you watch the same game as me? Because Nwaneri
Well,
was like,
I also have another theory. A lot of people watch multiple games at the same time, and if you're watching multiple games at the same time, you're only watching the screen where they're in the final third. You're not
hmm,
watching the screen where they're doing the boring stuff in midfield.
they're also doing a
So
lot of this."
yeah, 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 chatting during the game. So
Mhm.
it is hard to judge our midfielders, but like even Max Darman, like back before Max Darman having
We need
like
to
a
talk more
mentor in
about that, by the way, my
Declan
friend.
Declan Rice, having him kind of under his wing. He's not learning how to play football of Declan Rice, but Declan Rice is like
He's learning to be a
a more of
professional.
more of a mentor in terms of how to be in the Arsenal, how to adjust to professional football. That's something that Saka didn't have.
Saka
We
had
didn't have these.
Aubameyang. That was
Yeah, we
the
didn't
greatest
have.
example of how professionalism.
Yeah,
I don't know how that
we
boy
did.
turned out the way he did.
Yeah, he didn't. We don't have these kind of mature, responsible role models. So yeah,
Mm. Yeah, no, like I just want to talk a bit about Max Dowman. I don't want to get too gassed because we've been very gassed on this show, more than usual, to be honest. But just seeing this kid, the way I would kind of describe him is like a kid who's playing at recess with his friends. Like he just doesn't care. He's just out to have playing just purely for the fun and for the love of the game, like the energy of a kid, and he essentially is a kid. But he's playing with professionals like he's playing out at recess, and he's just got no fear. He's direct. He's using all the tricks in his bag, and he wins penalties. And here's a thing, Cal. This is, and I gotta credit my girlfriend because she said this, and I never even thought about this. When the referees are there to protect young kids against grown men, so anytime that he basically gets fouled in any certain way, the referees are not going to let the play go on. They're going to protect the kid because his
of
body
course they are.
frame is a lot smaller than the big, fully grown men, and
Yeah.
and that's why he wins penalties and he wins free kicks. And
Well, the thing is, to be fair with you, you actually do kind of earn those fouls. I think people didn't think that foul that he got was a natural pen, but when you look at the replay, his foot was literally stepped on his toe,
yeah,
and you can see it just, yeah, they stepped on his toes. So
mm,
it wasn't like a what you call it, wasn't a dive. But yeah, you're right. He is gonna, especially because of, and to be honest, it's not only him being young, when the referee is seeing him get past these players over and over again, when he does go down, they are looking at that because he frustrates the players because first of all it's embarrassing as a 30-year-old guy to get clowned by a 15-year-old kid. So it's you're gonna try to impose yourself with a little bit more vim, and you are going to make mistakes. And I think that's why he's probably going to win more penalties this season.
Yeah, but just how good? I mean, it's hard to project, but how good do you think Max Dowman could be? Let's say I'm going to give you an age by 24.
At 24, he can be the best player on the team, leading us to Champions Leagues, winning Ballon d'Ors. Like, that's his
Really?
ceiling. Yeah. At 24, if he's this good now, yeah. And the thing is, it's like he's probably he has the potential if we take care of him to win multiple titles with us being our best player, win Champions Leagues with us being our best player. Like he can be the face of the club for like 10 years if we take care of him.
Yeah, I told you not to give us too much gas. Here you are,
No,
you're
but
pouring
like
more
we
petrol,
can
but you're right.
we can
You're
see
right.
it. You can see it. He's
Yeah,
different. He's different. Like
absolutely.
even more than Waneri. Like he just feels like if Waneri is like an A talent, Max Darwin's like once he's like they say generational. Like we're probably not gonna produce
I'm just
another
gonna say this pretty
Max
bluntly.
in like 20 years.
I'm gonna say this pretty bluntly. Max Dowman is the greatest youth player I've ever seen at our football club. Like in
Really?
terms of what he's doing at his age, even Bukayo Saka at age 15 was nowhere near the first team. In fact, I remember because wait, how old is Bukayo Saka now? 24. So Arsenal
Yeah.
went on tour in 2017. That is 8 years ago in Sydney, and I watched them. Right, Reece Nelson was on that tour. That was the first time I ever saw Reece Nelson play, and I thought Reece Nelson was like going to be this awesome player too. But there was no Bukayo Saka in that team, and then he probably would have been about 16 years old then. As by then, he wasn't even going on tour with the club. So, like Emil Smith Rowe was not even going on tour with the club, and they were pushed probably about a year or two later after that. But Max Dowman is literally playing more minutes, by the way, than any 15-year-old in the history of Arsenal.
And he's not
Played
looking
one
out of
game.
place. He's not looking like he doesn't look like he doesn't belong there. He does. This is not to be negative, but my only thing with him is that I hope he doesn't get another growth spurt. I don't want him to end up being 6'6".
Oh my
Like I
God!
want
And
him
then
to,
being a center back.
yeah, because right now he's 15 and he's 6 foot. So
Right.
he probably has another
Holy
two
shit!
to
He's
three
taller than
inches.
me. Fucking hell.
So he probably has another 2 to 3 inches. I just hope he kind of like, because not to PTSD Kai Havertz, he got his growth spurt and then he wasn't the same.
Mm.
So the height does affect. That's the only thing that could potentially be like a little bit of a something to watch. But let's say he does get the growth spurt and he does maintain his level. Like
How what range of height do you reckon is dangerous?
once you start getting to 6'4", I think,
He's at
especially because we
6
want
feet
him.
tall, and
Yeah,
he's 15.
yeah. If he gets to
Mm.
6'4", they might just put him as striker. He wouldn't be a number 10. I don't think.
You see,
It depends. It depends. He could be a freak because there are these freaks in football,
it could be
and
just
in
the
it
Giannis of football, you know?
no, but yeah, there's these athletes that kind of what I mean in sports. There's athletes that shouldn't play the way they do, but they do it anyway. He could be one of those, you know, like Giannis in basketball. Like he
Yeah.
shouldn't be that fast. His footwork shouldn't be that good, and he just does it anyway. So, and that's why he is the way he is. It's like if Russell Westbrook was, almost 7 foot. That's Giannis.
Yeah. But at the
So
moment, I kind of want Max Dowman to be Russell Westbrook.
yeah,
Actually, I don't
yeah.
know. That's not a really
A lot
fair
of
game
other
to be
people
comparing to be
wouldn't
honest
know
with
who you're
you.
talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. I think let's see, because I think we're starting to set a trend here now where young players are able to play at an earlier stage. Look at Lamine Yamal for Barcelona.
Mm,
Look at Rio the other day scoring like to think
yeah.
we were talking about Max Down the very next day or 2 days later, Rio scoring the winner for
Is he
Liverpool.
17 now? He just turned
16.
17.
I think he just
He's
turned
still 16.
17. Wait.
I think he just turned 17 or he's 16. Oh, apparently he was in the Arsenal academy, by the way.
I know. Well, there are a few guys who used to be at the Arsenal Academy. One of them we just got back. Um, yeah, Rio Nagamura. He is going to be on the 29th, 2 days from now. Will be turning 17. So he's
Yes,
16.
so he's 16.
So yeah, by Friday it will be his 17th birthday. Anyway,
And
guys.
Daman is turning 16 in December, I think.
Yeah, I think New Year's, isn't it? His birthday on New Year's.
I don't know.
I heard something like that. Wait,
But is it really? That means he just made the cut?
31st of December, 2009 was his birthday.
Wow. You know,
Yeah,
if his birthday was next year, we wouldn't be able to play him.
you wouldn't be able to play him. So he was on the right side of the.
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
man. Look, like again, I think the present and the future, there are a lot of things to be positive about Arsenal, and
Mm.
maybe we'll end this off on this note, and that is just like, guys, strap yourself in. This is going to be a fun year. And yes, not we're not going to win every single game. We're going to drop points, right? But just enjoy
Mm.
this year. Enjoy the transfer window while it's open for the next 6 days, because we are never going to. I don't know. Maybe this standards have changed so much that this is going to become the norm. But this is the greatest transfer window we've ever had. This is probably the most talented Arsenal squad since the Invincibles, and I'm not trying to gas. It's just factual. Just look at the team. Look at some of the teams we've had in the past 20 years. Some of the stuff we've had to put up with.
It's normally
We're
one or
heading
two
in,
guys. Now
yeah,
it's a
we're
team.
heading into our golden era, and don't let other fans knock you off of that perch, guys. Just enjoy. Go in there with chest. It's gonna be a fun year, Cal, isn't it?
Indeed.
All right. Well, we're at 1 hour 15 minutes on the pod, so I think it's a nice place to end.
Indeed.
Yeah. So, guys, we will be back. It is yet to be seen whether we make another video, another podcast later on in the week. I still have to organize some things on that, so we may or
Yep.
may not. I think I would like to anyway, so we can delve a little bit more into Arsenal v Liverpool
Mm.
regardless. So look out for that. We have a huge game. This is like our biggest away game of the season in match week 3 coming up against our probably to be the main title rivals of the season. So it's going to be another big week ahead. And as well, the transfer window is going to be closing in the next
Yep.
week. So this channel is going to, this is episode 2. Before you know, it will be on episode 5 and episode 6 because it's going to be getting into hyperdrive. So yeah, any final words, Cal, before we say goodbye to the people?
Nah, I'm good. I think you covered pretty much everything. And when the transfer window ends and stuff, I think we're going to touch on that, do a little bit more predictions, more in-depth predictions, more evaluations on our window now that when it concludes and stuff like that. So yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah.
And remember to like and subscribe because we need it.
Yeah. We're at the very, very beginning. But I think for to gas ourselves up on the recording here, but I think we're doing very, very well for a new starting podcast. Like we've really got eyeballs after a week, and I think that's really good. I think
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited about where this is going. Anyway, guys, that is all we have time for today. We will see you guys later this week. Ciao.
See ya.